Lovely. And let's see if I'm if I'm as challenged as I think I am when it comes to doing such things. Yay, I think it worked. It works this time. Beautiful. All right, so welcome everyone to day 2. How is everybody doing on this fine Tuesday evening? Let me know in chat. And if you are new and you were not here yesterday, we need to know where you're watching from. And for those that are here again for day 2, welcome. What are you drinking? I am not drinking water. I don't even have any water near me. Shame on me. But I'm going to have to go get some. So I am hosting you from the fine state of Georgia. And what we're going to do now is sort of recap yesterday. So if you did miss yesterday, we're going to talk about what we went over yesterday. And then we've got a very amazingly special guest speaker that I'm going to introduce in just a few minutes. So I want to remind you why you are here. You are here because we are talking all things groups, not only how to create a group, but really create profitable groups for your travel business. And so let me share my screen really quick. Let me get her going. Where are you? There we are. Let me remind us what we learned about yesterday, just in the event you were not here with us. All right, there we go. Share screen. Can everyone see my screen now? Yes, perfect. All right, so welcome. So let's do a quick recap. So yesterday we focused on really pros and cons of fit versus groups. What I always say is you don't have to pick one or the other, just do whichever one that you want, do it to the best of your ability. We are focused this week on groups proper. However, what we revealed is really the shift that you need to make as a travel business owner to go from a fit mentality to a group mentality and what it really takes to do that. So we really talked a lot about the secret to being successful with groups, and that's marketing. So we talked all about those shifts that need to have you focused on marketing, what that really means, and what that means to your business. So if you did join us yesterday, I would love to see if you had any major aha moments, and if so, what they were, because we ended our session with an activity of you identifying your group idea, what it's about, and who it would service, who your ideal person or persons would be for you to join that group. And so you guys were to come up with an elevator pitch to explain why that person would want to go on your trip. You guys had some amazing elevator pitches. So I would love to hear in comments or read in comments, what were some of your major takeaways from yesterday's training? Or you can also come offline and tell me in person if I could find the chats. Let's see, where is the chat? Would anyone like to share? And don't be shy, because you know, if you don't share, I'm going to start calling you by name. So who would like to share? Let me see. I bet there is a chat. Here it is. I found it. All right. Nobody's going to share? What are you guys saying? All right. Replay. Yes, there is a replay. It will be, you should check your email. You should have received it yesterday evening, but no one's going to share. Really, there are no aha moments from yesterday. My takeaway is to ask for reviews. Jan, it was really a pleasure talking to you yesterday in VIP. And yes, reviews are going to be a very powerful way for you to get your, I'm calling it a blueprint. I don't know what you're ultimately going to call it, but the blueprint of your group trip and what you're doing, and replicating that, getting some reviews. You already got some amazing people I know who will have great things to say about you. The importance of marketing, absolutely. So if anything is the lessons that I've learned throughout, you know, not only hosting my own trips, but also teaching you all, is really that marketing is not everybody's strong point. And so hopefully you walked away with that as a message that if you want to be successful in group sales and really any type of sales in your business, you want to get stronger in marketing. And so don't continue to beat yourself up over the fact that you don't feel like you're good at it. Now you'll know what you need to do so that you can knock it out of the park. One of my big takeaways is choosing the social media platform that best works for you. Cynthia, that really is a great takeaway. With the amount of code that these companies invest in their algorithm to ensure that you're compliant, trying to be a master of all initially can be extremely overwhelming. So we don't want you to do that. So pick one, learn it, do it well, follow the rules that they want you to follow so that you can be massively visible on those platforms. All right. Sugar says that thinking about my trip from the standpoint of who is the trip for rather than the destination. Absolutely. Because as I always say, if you focus on people, you can take them anywhere in the world that you want to. So if you focus and become a steward of the people, then I feel like I'm a politician, like the people. Like if you're a steward of the people, then taking them and deciding on destinations is an easy thing to do. So you guys, like I told you that when my hairs on my arm stand up, I know I'm listening and I'm being a part of greatness. And literally, you guys kept me on the edge of my seat with the amazing ideas that you guys have in terms of the group trips that you want to curate in the upcoming 12 to 18 months, what the ideal audiences that you want to work with. So you guys really have the beginnings of an amazing foundation. And so with that, I would like to introduce you to who's going to really knock it out of the park. But before we do that, let me just remind you of some administrative things. If you guys do not already have Travel Pro Suite Premier, I do have an exclusive offer this week only. You can get 3 months of our Premier level for $99. That's going to include an account setup of your account. That is going to be a one-on-one with our onboarding specialist so that we can get your account set up for you and with you. You're going to get 3 months of a trial to get set up and get all of the foundation of the software and your business set up from an automation, email, and all the things that we do there. You're going to also get our annual travel planning essentials masterclass. You'll also get profitable group travel design masterclass. You'll get VIP access to our workshop, which happens directly after this general session at 7:30 to 8:30. And then you're going to get our group trip calculator. So you'll get lifetime access to this workshop, to 3 days of the workshop and the replay. As soon as the workshop is over, we package that up into a course and you'll get replay access. All you need to do is go to onlinetravelboss.com/sweet success-offer, and you'll be able to sign up for that. Then just as a reminder, what our agenda is, we had our shifting gears. Success, we can put a check mark on that. Today, we're going to go over 5-step framework for profitable groups hosted by Tamika Carter. And then tomorrow, we're going to go over best tools for group travel marketing and promotions. General session, we usually work about 90 minutes together, and then we go straight into VIP. All right. And here we have Tamika. So I am so excited to have her. I met with her. I guess I've known you for a while, and I think we had the opportunity to work together last year. Tamika is the founder and executive director of the Group Travel Academy, where she helps travel business owners create travel brands that attract their ideal, perfect targeted client, use modern marketing and technology to grow and service their customer base from targeted relationships with suppliers and create unshoppable, not unstoppable, but also unstoppable and unshoppable group travel experiences, all by using a simple rinse and repeat strategy that simplifies business operations with increasing revenue and reaching results in a business that you will love. It is with my greatest excitement to introduce Tamika and let her talk to us about the 5-step framework that she has on creating a profitable travel business. All right, so with that, Tamika, I'm going to let you take it away. I'm going to stop sharing. And so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited too. Thank you so much. I've really been looking forward to this. And thank you so much, Sundey, for inviting me to come onto your platform. I'm really excited about it. Been looking forward to it for a while. And like you said, we've known each other for a while, and Sundey has done some things for us as well. Our marketing and tech summit that we had maybe about a year and a half ago, which she knocked it out of the park, definitely for that summit. And I just love working with her. For you guys who follow me, you might have seen on my social media today that I posted that I've never met anyone else in the travel industry who is as dedicated and committed to helping travel professionals succeed like I do. And that other person is Sundey, right? So, and I truly mean that. Like, you guys are in good hands. I would not have referred any of my people to this event or her platform if I did not think I was putting you guys in great and capable hands. So she is definitely an amazing person to follow. Listen to her. Like, all of you guys, listen to her. Don't mess with the formula. She has the formula. A lot of people use another word, the F word in there, but I'm going to clean it up and say, don't mess with the formula, right? So she has a great formula for success. And you guys should definitely be in tune with what she has to say and what she's sharing with you. And oh my God, the platform that she's offering you guys. So just absolutely amazing. So speaking of those of you who follow me, I want to say, hey guys, it is so good to see some familiar faces on here. I can only see Jan and Ebony and Nadine and Maria. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's so good to see you guys. And oh, Marion is here too. Okay, hey girl. So it's so good to see you guys. And thanks for coming on tonight and for supporting me and for supporting Sundey and for learning everything that you can about building and growing your travel business with groups. All right, so I have some slides too, because I need slides to kind of help me keep it moving. And I'm also going to set a timer to make sure that I don't go over time, because y'all know, those of you who follow me know that I can talk and we will go over time. So I did set a timer for myself. All right, let me share my screen. All right. So Jan, I can still see you. Give me a thumbs up, a physical thumbs up if you can see the screen okay. Perfect. Awesome. All right. So we are going to talk about tonight, you guys, my 5-step framework for creating a profitable and uniquely branded group travel business. And I know that Sundey has gone over a lot of this information with you guys yesterday. I heard a lot about it in the recap tonight. Some of it is going to be a refresher for you from last night and from the recap tonight as well. But we are going to keep it moving because I think it's going to still be great information for you to hear again. All right, so tonight we are going to talk about how to multiply your income with group travel so that you can travel more, because that is why you got into this business in the first place. We're also going to talk about how to quickly establish yourself as a travel industry expert, and also how to create a travel business that attracts the people that you want to work with, right? And we're going to talk about all of that in the premise of my 5-step framework. So Sundey already read my bio, so I'm just going to go through this really quickly. But I'm Tamika C. Carter, and I'm a former recruiter. For those of you who don't know me and don't follow me, I'm a former recruiter and HR professional in the Washington, D.C. area. And I started out moonlighting like many of you guys are doing right now, running my travel business on the side. But now I am a business coach in the travel industry, and I am absolutely obsessed with helping people just like you start and grow your travel businesses with groups. So I am the founder and the executive director of the Group Travel Academy, and I'm the creator of our signature program, which is called the Group Travel Business Boot Camp. We have other programs as well called Mastering Group Travel to Major Events for people who are interested in doing like music festivals and sporting events and things of that nature. On a personal note, you guys, I am a diehard New Edition and Alanis Morissette fan. I love them both equally. Whenever I can, I try to see them both. Okay. I know totally opposite ends of the spectrum, but I love them both. And like Sundey mentioned as well, I am also a group travel agency owner myself. So I started out with an agency called On the Go, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that journey. And now I have an agency called Caribbean Mastermind Retreats. So some of my content, y'all, has been featured in lots of publications, both online, digital publications, as well as physical ones. So you can find some of the things that I've written in Leisure Group Travel Magazine and also Groups Today Magazine. But what I'm really proud of is the fact that Groups Today Magazine and Leisure Group Travel Magazine, they have both featured me in their publications as an influential woman in group travel and an influential woman in travel. So totally honored to be featured. And Groups Today made me a cover girl, which made me like so excited, right? I thought I took this slide out, but apparently not. So I'll address it anyway. But so I kind of fell in, I'm from the South. I'm from Southwestern Virginia, actually, really small town. I didn't travel much as a kid, didn't travel much growing up, wasn't really exposed to travel. Definitely not in the way that I like to expose my own daughter to travel. But I was an exchange student to Australia, never even thought it was a possibility for me to do anything like that. It was kind of a last minute opportunity that was presented to me that I took advantage of. So these are just some pictures of me when I was an exchange student living abroad. And this is really truly when I was like, you know what? I want to travel more. Like the world is so big. Like I want to see more of it. And that's when I fell in love with travel. And when I came back from this exchange program, I went to college, I graduated from college, and I gifted myself a trip to the Bahamas for my college graduation. And it was actually a group trip, right? So, which kind of brings it all full circle, really. But I gifted myself this trip to the Bahamas in 99. And I decided that at that point, like, I just loved the islands. I loved every thing about the islands and I wanted to see more of them and more of the world. So just like you guys, I said, you know what? I'm gonna be a travel agent. I want to be a travel agent because I want to travel more. I don't have any money. As my daughter says, I was a brokenaire because I was broke out of college, no money. I had an entry level job. And so I started looking into how to become a travel agent so that I could travel for free, right? Because we hear that when we come into the industry, a lot of us come into the industry for that reason. We find out that it's a little bit more challenging than that. But that is why I decided that I wanted to start looking into becoming a travel agent. But when I started in travel, it was really, really hard for me. Like I really struggled. And I struggled for the most part with learning how to use the GDS booking systems. I didn't even know what GDS meant, right? So I know a lot of you were in the same boat. Like I was like, what is this? And then there were so many, there was Amadeus, Apollo, Sabre. There were so many of them. I was like, this is not for me. And then I had no credibility as a travel agent. So people would come to me, even when I would tell them I was selling travel, but I had no idea like how to service them, right? And then not even knowing like not having any bookings under my belt or not very many, I just struggled with credibility. And then there was the internet, right? There was the internet. I mean, what else can we say? There was Expedia, there was Travelocity, there was Cheap Caribbean. There were all these things that I was competing with, which found me spending so much time online looking for travel packages, only to realize that people were really seeing if I had this magic button that I could push that would give them this magic discount, this magic travel agent discount for the trip that they had already priced and was ready to book online themselves, right? So it was just a total waste of time. I had trouble with confidently booking travel to places that I hadn't traveled to myself on my own. So if I hadn't seen the destination, like I didn't know what hotel to put people in. I didn't really know what was the best airline to get them to the destination, what excursions and activities to refer them to. I had no idea. I was really blind doing this, right? And then kind of like I mentioned before, I had a problem with finding what I call booking clients and not looking clients, right? So, clients, again, who were just looking to see if I could find something cheaper than what they could already find themselves online, right? They really weren't serious or interested with booking with me. And ultimately, it all led to me struggling to make money. It led to me struggling to make money in my business. And y'all, I was ready to give up. I was ready to give up. I was done. I was absolutely done. I had gone to trade shows. And when I tell you trade shows, I had gone to trade show after trade show after trade show. I was the person with the shopping cart, with the grocery cart, the rolling grocery cart, with all the magazines, the brochures. I was the person that I look at today at the trade shows, and I just shake my head and I'm like, poor thing. Mm, mm, mm. So, and I know that I wasn't the only one. I know there's so many. Maybe one of you guys is one of the ones that I'm like shaking my head at the trade show, right? So I hope not. I hope not. But definitely with I tried internet agencies like registering with host agencies. Um, when I say internet agencies, y'all, I even tried like marking up like Expedia packages by like 25 or $50, right? Don't judge me because I know I wasn't the only one, right? So no judgment, okay? I didn't know what I was doing. I admit it. I did not know what I was doing. And then I tried with network marketing agencies as well, right? Only to find out that they were more interested in me building a team of people under me rather than teaching me what do you do when somebody's hotel booking gets canceled and they're already at the destination, right? So there was nobody who could answer those kinds of questions. Let me just open up the chat because I can see it popping, but I can't see what y'all are saying. Hold on one second. Yes, yes. Okay. So, yeah, so Cynthia's saying she can absolutely relate to these struggles. Yes, absolutely. And like I said, even with host agencies, now some host agencies these days are much, much better than what they were when I first started in the travel industry. But I found when I first started out, the host agencies that I was with, like their policies were so inflexible and inconvenient, and it felt like they held on to my money forever. I'm like, when are you going to give me my coins? Like, I need my money. I need it to be able to run my business. So it was such a challenge for me with the host agencies. And like I said, their policies were inflexible. And it was like I was promoting their business instead of promoting my own, because everything, every platform, every business card, every time I met with the supplier, everything that came up was the name of that particular host agency, not the name of my business. Now, like I said, there are some host agencies now that have kind of learned from those things and that have evolved. So they're much better. So, but that was my experience and it just wasn't working for me. And like I said, I was so ready to quit, ready to give up. I was overwhelmed and confused. I was moving in every direction, y'all, and I wasn't going anywhere. And it wasn't until my mom asked me to put together a cruise. Now, mind you, again, we're from Southwestern Virginia, had never really traveled. I had never been on a cruise at that point. My mom had never been on a cruise at that point. But she was like, you know what? Let's try a cruise. Put together a cruise for us. And I was like, okay. So it was supposed to be about 8 to 10 of us going on this particular cruise. And by the time it was all said and done, y'all, we had like 40 people on this particular cruise. Okay. For me, that was huge. I was in my 20s. It was huge. Okay. I had just started for the first time to see some success in my travel business. And I made $2,500, y'all, by accident. Okay. Now, $2,500, I know don't sound like a lot of money, but let me tell you, when you are in your 20s and the rent has to be paid and the car payment has to be paid and you have an entry-level job, that $2,500 felt like $25,000 to me. It truly did. It was life-changing for me. And when I say that I made it by accident, what I mean is that this trip was for my family. It was for my family. And so every point, every perk, every bonus, every kickback, every meal, everything that I got from the cruise line without a markup or anything like that, everything that I got from the cruise line for promoting this particular group, I gave it all back to them. I gave it to my family. I gave it to the people who went on this trip, right? Because I wasn't trying to make money off of them. This was just something I was doing just for fun. But I still made the $2,500. And it was life-changing for me. Y'all, at that point, I became absolutely obsessed with group travel. Okay. And my business blew up. And I'm just saying, y'all, I was able to quit my full-time job to run my travel business. And I was able to go to every island I wanted to go to and travel to all the places that I wanted to travel to. And it was absolutely amazing. So I believe that the secret to success in travel is to create a travel business that exclusively targets groups. Okay? That is what I believe. And I'm going to show you more about how to do that and why. All right, so I told you guys I was going to tell you a little bit about my first business. So my first business was called On the Go LLC. And originally it was just on the go. I was just trying to book travel for anybody that I could. And after I went through this process with the cruise and started to focus exclusively on group travel, I rebranded a soft rebrand, right, to On the Go Group Travel Specialist. And then I started just exclusively booking groups. And it was really any kind of group that I could get my hands on. It was, I did destination weddings, I did girlfriend getaways, I did all kinds of things, family reunions, like you name it, I was doing it. Whatever came to me, I did. But there was one trip in particular, actually someone who went on that very first cruise had asked me, why wasn't I doing a trip to the Essence Music Festival? And I was like, I don't know. I never heard of the Essence Music Festival. And I had never heard of it. I knew of Essence Magazine, but I'd never heard of the Essence Music Festival. So I looked into it and I was like, okay. So I did this trip to the Essence Music Festival, y'all. And let me tell you, first of all, it was a disaster. I'm totally honest about that to everybody. It was a flop. It was a disaster. I did get about 22 people. And for a first group trip, I was okay with that. But it was truly let me say, it was a learning process for me to do that trip. And I didn't have the right hotel. I didn't have the right transportation. Like all kinds of things went wrong. But it was okay. I used it as a learning experience. And while I was at Essence that year, I actually met with other hotel salespeople and I signed on site that year a contract for the following year for more rooms. And Essence ended up being like my biggest selling trip ever, every single year. So much so that I started chartering 50% of a hotel at the corner of Canal and Bourbon Street. And we even started using two other overflow hotels, which was the Sheraton and the W in New Orleans as well for that event. So because of the clientele that I was growing for Essence, I started looking into other events that fit that same clientele. So NBA All-Star Weekend, Reggae Sumfest, there were events going on in Vegas at that time called Blackout Weekend, and so forth. And then we also started putting together our own unique events in the Caribbean for groups that fit that demographic and target market as well. And so On the Go completely became like a major events platform, right, for group travel. So you can see here like some of the trips that I did for Essence. you know, 130 people, 90 people, 240 people, multiple flights, and so forth. So I started booking groups, y'all, and I never looked back. So this slide here just shows kind of an evolution of everything that I just explained to you. When I did decide that I wanted to do something a little bit different, because people kept asking me, how did you do this, Tamika? How did you get into this industry? So I founded the International Group Travel Agents Association, which we later rebranded to the Group Travel Academy. And that kind of morphed into, or kind of fed into, the group travel business that I have today, which is called Caribbean Mastermind Retreats. So I am still a travel agent just like you guys. These are just a handful of the brands that I've helped to curate over the years. Some of them are in the room tonight, y'all. So yeah, so just a handful of the brands that I've helped to curate through the Group Travel Academy. But look, why should you be booking group travel? Why should you truly be looking into this? So Travel Weekly, y'all, says that group bookings represent multiples in revenue and overrides that are hard to match when booking singles or couples. Skyscanner says that the future is in a group of like-minded people, regardless of whether they are locals or tourists. Let me just stop on that for a minute. For those of you who live in a city where there are cool things to do in your city, don't think that you always have to take people outside of the city to somewhere else. You can bring people to you and have a very successful group travel business. Okay, so keep that in mind. And Room Blocker says that group hotel bookings represent a $137 billion market worldwide. That is billion with a B. That's a lot of money. Okay, we're talking a lot of money. But look, how many of us are seeing that billion with the B? Not many, right? Not any. Okay. Not any. So Connie is resonating with the bringing people into your city. That's right, Connie. So y'all, the reason we're not seeing that billion dollars with the B is because the average salary of a US travel agent is $21.06 an hour. That's about $44,000 a year. And that's according to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor, US Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay. $44,000 a year. Now, I know that is all relative to where you live. 44,000 may be a whole lot of money. But where I live here right outside of DC, that is not a lot of money. Okay. And I know many of you live in major cities. That is not a lot of money.
At all.
At all. So let's get into this, right? Why is this happening? Why are we not making money in this industry? So the top is cut off a little bit. I don't know why, but this is an upside down funnel. Okay, an upside, because you know, a funnel is usually this way, right, for you to pour into. So this one is upside down. And what it represents is it represents the myth that we face in this industry. And that myth is that I, as a travel agent, I have to master individual travel bookings before I can add groups to my business, right? That is a myth. It is not true. Okay. Most of us start out at the top of this upside down funnel, just like I did. You start out booking fits, right? Sundey was talking about booking fits. So you start out booking fits where you're booking 2 people at a time, 3 people, maybe a family of 4 or 5, right? You're making a little bit of money. But like I said, when I was talking about the struggles, you're spending so much time looking for travel packages that people have really already found themselves. They just want to know if you can get it done a little bit cheaper in most cases. And then you may move on down this upside down funnel a little bit and stumble upon a few families and small groups here or there. Maybe you go to church and your women's ministry says, hey, we know you're a church. We know you're a travel agent. So can you put together our trip to go see the play Ruth or something like that? So you might come across a couple of groups here or there, right? And so you might be making a little bit more money, probably spending the same amount of time in your business, right? But then what happens is you spend so much time trying to curate the perfect travel packages for people that you fall into what I call the gap of overwhelm and burnout. Okay. And you get tired and you get overwhelmed and you get stressed and you get frustrated. And you want to just pick up your laptop and throw it out the window. You don't want your phone to ring another day because you're like, I don't have time for these people. They don't know where they want to go. They don't know how much money they want to spend. They don't know when they want to travel. They tell you, oh, sometime in the summer when the kids are out of school. And then you book something for them. You book something for them, or you find something for them that's in July, and they're like, you know what? August is probably really going to work better for us. And then you're back at the drawing board all over again. And then they don't know where they want to go. They're like, I want to go to the Sundey put in the chat. Who's felt like this? Right? Drop it in the chat. They're like, oh, I want to go somewhere warm. Send me to a beach somewhere. There are beaches everywhere. Right? I want to go to the Caribbean. Okay. How many islands are in the Caribbean? And then you find something for them that you think they'll love in Jamaica. Katisha, I'm laughing at you. But you find something in Jamaica, or you find something in Aruba that you think their family will love. And then they're like, you know what? My brother-in-law just came back from St. Martin and he said it was amazing. Can you look into that? Right? Who has time for that? Who has time for that? And group business is down here, right? Group business is down here at the bottom where you can have more freedom, right? And make more money multiplying your income with pretty much the same amount of work and effort as it takes you to research and book a fit trip, right? A little bit more. But with group travel, it's like a one and done. When you've done it, you've done it. It's a one and done, which is great. All right. So what I wanted to point out to you in that slide is that you can only get a little bit of what you need when you try to pour something through an upside down funnel, right? It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've gone through all of this already with the traditional travel agent growth strategy. I think I got a little bit ahead of myself. But ultimately, you guys, what I think you should do is I think you need to flip the funnel and close the gap. Flip the funnel and close the gap. Because the truth is that you can add group travel to your existing business now in one of two ways. You can either use groups to fuel your individual travel bookings, like Sundey was saying earlier, like you can still do both. Just use group travel to fuel your individual travel bookings, or you can book groups exclusively. It's totally up to you. Now, what do I mean by using groups to fuel your individual travel bookings? Well, people who go on your group trips, they know that you are capable of planning an amazing travel experience. They will be comfortable working with you because they've been on your group trips. So then guess who they're going to reach out to first when they're ready to go on their honeymoon, or when they're ready for their 25th anniversary trip, or when they're celebrating their 40th birthday? Guess who they're going to call? They're going to call you. And if you have a fit business, you can service them through your fit business, right? Or you can just book group travel exclusively, just like I do, and just like many of my clients do, right? You can just do groups exclusively. So I know you guys probably went over this yesterday, so I'm going to fly through it. But with group travel, as you know, you can multiply your income. Easy, right? Minimize price shopping, right? When you have a group trip that's planned that you're promoting, people aren't going to call around to other agents to see if they can find it cheaper, right? They're going to want to go on your trip because of the people that they're going to be able to interact with, and because of the, as Sundey was saying earlier, the unshoppable experiences that you have included in your group travel experience. Y'all, groups need you. Groups need you. This is like one last segment of the travel industry where people who are planning these kinds of trips, they don't feel comfortable doing it on their own. They don't feel comfortable planning a destination wedding. They don't feel comfortable planning a family reunion. You know, they need help. They need you. Everybody can afford group travel. And how can everyone afford it? Because one of the best things about group travel is the ability to put people on a payment plan. Truly. And it's a great way to create a pipeline for new clients. Just as I said before about funneling your fit clients, funneling your group clients down into your fit business. So if you have a fit business, it's a great way to create a pipeline for new clients. And there's almost no internet competition. People can't really go online and book group travel just like that, right? There may be some hotel chains that will allow them to book 5 or 6 rooms. But then it goes back to, I think it was number 3 that I showed you, that people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to book all those rooms and then have to deal with collecting all the money from their friends and family. And they don't want to do that. They want you to help facilitate this process for them. And suppliers need you too. Suppliers need you too. Suppliers need you to bring untapped group travel sales to the surface, y'all. So C. Patrick Scholes is a lodging analyst, and he says that for a typical Marriott, Starwood, Hilton, or Hyatt, group business represents just 30 to 40% of overall revenue. And he says that this segment of the lodging market is still lagging. Okay. So you guys, you are needed. Now, the 5-step framework to creating your own uniquely branded and profitable group travel business lies ahead. So how do you do this, right? Step 1 is attract. And Sundey, I was so excited when I heard you talk about this during the recap because this is key. My people know that we spend so much time in this area because this is key. So many people want to start a group travel business or they want to start selling to groups, and they think that just having a group travel business is niche enough. It is not. It is not. So when I started focusing on groups and I was doing family reunions, destination weddings, a Girl Scout group, like whoever came to me, yeah, I was able to make a little bit of money and be profitable, you know, in that sense. But it wasn't until I clearly identified my niche and target market that my business truly started to blow up. And part of that reason is because I was able to know exactly where to find my clients. I knew where to find my clients. Y'all, this is the question that I get from most people in the travel industry. Where do I find people? Where do I find clients? Everybody says all these people want to travel, but they're not calling me. I can't find them. No, you have to position yourself where your people are. But first, you have to figure out who your people are, right? And I know that that's what Sundey talked to you guys about yesterday. That is key. Otherwise, you waste time, you waste money, you waste everything, right? So who is your ideal client? Step 1 is attract. So to do that, you need to have a clearly identified niche and target market. Where will you find your people and who will you serve? You need to build a business to fit your unique personality, quickly establish yourself as a travel industry expert, and attract your ideal clients. So what do I mean by that? Fitting your unique personality. Most likely, you guys, you are your ideal client. Look in the mirror. What do you like? What do you do? Right? Where do you hang out? Right? I'm gonna pick on Jan because I always tend to pick on Jan, and I just happen to see her. But Jan came through our program and Jan kept missing our live sessions. And she would always email me and she'd say, Tamika, I'm so sorry. I got to miss tonight. Or Tamika, I'm sorry. I missed last night. Da, 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 da. And I was like, Jen, let's get on the phone. Let's talk about this. Right. So we got on the phone and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, yeah, I'm really involved with this theater group and I volunteer with this theater group. And, it takes up a lot of my time and I'm really committed to them and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, you know what? Then this is what you should be focusing on in your travel business. If you're already in this community, it already takes up a lot of your time, then this is exactly where you should be focused. So Jan created a brand extension of her business, which her original business is 7 Season Tours, right? 7 Season Tours Travel. And she created a brand extension called Destination Showbiz that takes groups to New York and speakeasies and Sight and Sound for plays and things of that nature. So she targets theater lovers and people who are studying theater and acting. So guess what? She knows exactly where her people are. She knows exactly how to find them. She knows where to advertise, where to place her marketing dollars. Forget marketing dollars. She knows what Facebook groups to join for free.
That part.
Yes. She knows what influencers to follow on Instagram for free. Okay? So this is so important. Okay? So important. And it also makes you a travel industry expert. For those of you who feel like, I've been talking to so many clients this week about imposter syndrome. Right? So for those of you who feel like you have imposter syndrome or you feel like it's chasing you, this is how you get over that. This is what establishes you as an expert. It's when you have a clearly identified niche and target market, particularly one where you already have some credibility, right? Looking at Ebony on here, Miss Destination Dance, okay? Been dancing since she was 4 years old, right? So absolutely, this is key. This is number one. I got to move a little bit quicker, y'all, because I'm running out of time. Looking at my timer.
You're good.
All right. All right. So step 2, you guys, is build. Step 2 is build. You need to build a real business. A real business. Right? Not a hobby. And y'all, if I see one more Gmail address, oh my goodness. Get a real email address. Get a real everything. Okay? So let's talk about build for a moment. This is all about your foundational business tools, from your business cards to your websites to naming your business, everything. Y'all, it's not just enough to have these things. There is a formula for creating these things in a way that will work for you. And let me tell you, y'all are in the right place tonight. This week, y'all are in the right place because Sundey has this cornered for you guys. She has really thought this through for you. If you're ready to build a website that works for you, then Travel Pro Suite, this is a solution for you, where you can automate your marketing, automate your technology. I tell my people all the time, your business should operate the same at 3 o'clock in the morning as it does at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And automation is the key to that. Automation is the key. And technology is how you make that happen, right? So this software solution is perfect for that. Absolutely perfect for that. All right. So definitely, like, defining your business brand, making sure your brand is clearly speaks to the people that you're trying to serve. Creating your business assets and technology, like your business card should function along with your website. It's all a part of the marketing. It's all a part of the marketing. but it starts with identifying your niche and target market, and then the rest of it just kind of falls into place. But you have to have the right tools in place, you guys. You have to have the right tools in place to make this work. Otherwise, you spend time trying to piece everything together. And let me tell you, that is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. It is so much easier when you have systems that work together, that talk to each other, like just automatically. And you don't have to hire a bunch of people to work on things for you. I've been there, done that. You don't want that. You don't want that. This all-in-one system is amazing. All right. So, and then you also want to be able to protect yourself and your clients. So this is like where the legal comes in as well, with travel insurance, you know, those types of things. You want to make sure you have those things in place. You want to make sure you have the right tools in place to protect yourself. For example, like DocuSign features for your terms and conditions and things of that nature. All right. So these are your foundational business tools. Step 3 is partner. You need to find the perfect supplier partners. Okay? The perfect supplier partners. So supplier partnerships are key to the success of your travel business. The best partners appreciate and they reward you with special perks and bonuses, right? And they give you the opportunity to earn fam trips and money while building a win-win relationship with them. So you need to know what to look for in suppliers, right? What kind of suppliers do you want to have relationships with? They need to reflect you and your business. They need to reflect everything that you want your business to represent. Okay? And there are ways to identify those partners and build those relationships. And guess what, y'all? With group travel, even if you already have relationships with your suppliers and partners, if you book 2 couples with them 3 times a year, right? That's 6 people. Okay, not bad for that one supplier, right? But what if you book 60 people in a year for that 1 or 2 group trips that you do? Well, guess who's going to be rolling out the red carpet for you then? Right? So keep that in mind. You can multiply your income and you can multiply your success all the way around with groups. Okay. Step 4 is plan. Master the planning process. Master the group travel planning process. So the planning and booking process, when you know the right steps to take, the entire planning and booking process, easy for me to say, becomes super easy, consistent, and it ensures that both your clients and your preferred supplier partners have a great experience with you. So for step 4, it is so important for you to plan a group travel experience that everyone loves, right? Plan an experience that everyone loves. Include something for everybody. Make it unshoppable, right? Make it unshoppable. Master the booking process. You need steps. You need steps that you can follow, whether to know whether or not you book your air first. Do you book your hotel? Right? And then how do you book your ground transportation? What about transfers to and from the hotel? What about transportation to and from excursions? What about the excursions themselves? Right? So you need to master the booking process. You need to also decide on the right accommodations for your group, right? Because just not any hotel is going to do. It truly depends on your niche and target market first. It depends on what you're traveling for, and it depends on what needs to happen for that group while they're in destination. So there are decisions that you need to make in order to find the right accommodations for your group. Okay. And you also need to be able to manage your group's information and payments absolutely with ease. Okay. So there are software solutions out there for that. Travel Pro Suite is a great way for you to manage your customer information, right? It's a great way for you to be able to create tags so that you know, like, what customers have been on what trips, what customers have shown interest in what trips, right? If they start the checkout process and then they cancel, there are ways in there for you to be able to go back to them and say, hey, I saw you started the process. What happened? Right? It's all about the marketing. It is all about the marketing, right? But you need to have a place where you can easily manage all of your group's information to even be able to start that process. Okay. And step 5, last but certainly not least, is profit. Ensure that you are making money in your travel business. You need to create and price unforgettable group travel experiences that allow you to charge more, earn more, and still crush your competition. Okay? So you need to exceed the expectations of your group leaders if you're working with group leaders, and it definitely exceed the expectations of your travelers. Throw in some little surprises every now and then so that people can come back and talk about it to somebody else and say, oh my gosh, I didn't even know we were going to do this, but we did X, Y, and Z and it was amazing. Guess who's going on your next trip? Right? You need to create group leader agreements and policies that protect you and keep your business safe, right? So that you don't have unexpected fees and expenses that you weren't expecting because you didn't manage the process accordingly. And you didn't manage your group leader's expectations accordingly. You also need to be able to price trips in a way that guarantee that you make a profit, even if your trip doesn't sell out. There are secrets to doing that, y'all. There are ways to do it. And you also need to ensure that there are no surprise expenses, right? I cannot tell you guys like how many times I didn't include the $2 bellman fee per bag or something so simple that ended up costing me $250 when I got to the property. That just wasn't expected, right? Just dips into the bottom line. Or when it comes time to make a final payment and you're like, well, why am I paying $700? I should have been making money on this trip. No, there are ways to figure this out and calculate it in advance. I saw that Sundey is providing like a calculator as a bonus with the pro program. Y'all, you need that. You need that because you need to make sure that you are dotting every I and crossing every single T to ensure that you are building a business that is profitable and that things are not sneaking up on you. All right, so I'm going to turn my timer off because it says I have like 25 seconds and I don't want to
good. You're ahead of schedule. You're doing great.
All right, awesome. Awesome. All right. So I'm almost done though, actually. Almost done. So you guys, stop competing with the internet. Just to wrap this up, stop competing with the internet. Group travel is one of the last segments of the travel industry that does not have the internet as a major competitor. Okay. And this industry needs you. Group travel is one of the last segments of the travel industry that consumers feel that they still need the support of a professional travel advisor to ensure a successful trip. And I believe that group travel is the best way to take your business to the next level. I truly do. Y'all, it is your time. It is your time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I am done with my part of the presentation. But I do want to say that for those of you, for anybody who wants to, this was a very high level view, right? And for those of you who do want to dig a little bit deeper and go deeper in this process, Sundey told me she wanted to give you guys some great bonuses. And I was like, you know what? Let me see what I could do. And so tomorrow, Sundey is going to share the information with you guys, but she's going to share the details of how you can take advantage of it. But we are having our signature Group Travel Academy is having our signature 3-night event. It's coming up September the 9th, 10th, and 11th from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's called Group Travel Live. So we will dig deeper into a lot of these concepts with regard to the 5 steps, okay? And this is $197 event for the 3 nights, which is still a steal. But for you guys, Sundey told me she said she wanted to do it really up for you. So really do it up for you. So I gave her a special code, and you guys can all come to Group Travel Live for $1. But you have to come tomorrow night to get the code from Sundey.
A
So
buck. You cannot beat a buck. I don't think you can get anything for a buck these days.
$1.
$1. That's awesome. Tamika, thank you so much for extending that to our community. Shut the door. That's what Sugar says. That is exactly how I feel. Shut the front door. I haven't heard that in a long time. That's great. But we are revealing the details tomorrow. So you do have to join us on our last day of our workshop. What we'd love to do now is Tamika's going to stick with us for a couple more minutes and answer any questions that you may have in relationship to the 5 steps that you went. And you kept saying I went over this, and no, I did not steal any of your thunder. You covered it greatly with the 5 steps required for success. So if there are any questions, you can come off mute or you can put it in chat and we will do our best to address it. I do have a couple of things once I give people some opportunity to ask. My back is hurting, so I'm kind of up and down, so sorry about that. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions about the 5 steps? We have a really great crowd today. So, I mean, is everybody already doing groups successfully and you're good? Or do we have some questions about things that you would like to know about how you are running your groups today and any experiences that you have? We love when these sessions are interactive and you guys provide feedback.
I do see a question in the chat from Portia.
Yep.
So she's saying, first of all, she's saying she'll definitely be at Group Travel Live. Yes, girl, yes. So she's saying, how did you transition from booking everything to focusing exclusively on groups? How did I do it, Portia, or how did I do it? Okay, so for me, it was pretty easy, honestly, because I didn't have any success as a fit booker anyway. So I had very little business. And so it just got to a point where I just started like emailing the clients that I did have, the group trips that I had coming up, basically. So instead of like sending promotional emails with regard to saying, hey, book with me what do you think about this destination? Or there's a sale going on to Vegas, blah, 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 in the next few months. So instead of like those kind of general emails, promotional emails, I really just started promoting like the group trips specifically that I was doing. So
That's a really
I'm sorry, with regard to the magnet groups, which are the ones where you are the group leader, right? And then like usually at the bottom of those emails, I would transition into something that would say, interested in planning a group trip for your people, contact me, kind of thing.
I love it. That's a really great question that Portia asked. And Tamika, the fact that you said you weren't busy. So just give us a little bit of insight. Like, how many group trips did you start with? Because I think that's like one of the biggest things that people struggle with is like, should they do 1 or should they do 3 or 4 and offer them? Like, how many did you start with?
That is a great question. So when I first started with group travel, just groups in general, again, taking any groups that I could get, those I probably had, like in the first year that I started focusing on groups, I maybe had 4 or 5 groups, but they were smaller, none that were huge, right? So they probably had anywhere from 20 people to like 50 people, right? For those particular groups. And then when I started doing the magnet groups, when I did the Essence Music Festival, for example, I told you that first one, I had about 22 people. I did a trip to Vegas. My first Vegas trip also had about 20 something people on it. So again, not big groups at all, but they were learning experiences for me. That one was a disaster too, by the way. So, but they
I
were
was going to interrupt you. So I did
yeah.
Essence and I didn't have 22 people and I completely chalked Essence up as a disaster. The fact that you had 22 people, that is a resounding success for your first Essence festival.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I will tell you that it was a disaster because so really quick. It was a disaster because first of all, I chose a hotel that was on the riverfront. And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be fantastic. It's right on the water. Everybody's going to love it. It's going to be amazing." Right? And so we get there and the hotel is on the riverfront, but it is on the riverfront. So it smells musty. Like the carpet has like this mildewy odor. Like it was horrible. And it wasn't even that close to like all of the like events that Essence has going on, right?
Yeah.
So the location wasn't great, but I was thinking it's right on the river. It's going to be fantastic. So that was the first thing, which is also why I recommend that you go before you know. So,
Amen.
which is also a great benefit of group travel. Sundey, you might have to put me back on track because I'm getting old,
That's
but
okay.
but it's also a great benefit of group travel because you're not doing as many trips. So you don't have to learn about every place in the world. You don't have to be a geography expert, right?
No, absolutely not.
You
I
can
love that.
exactly. You can just learn about the places that you are sending your people to or taking your people to. You learn about what's needed for your niche and target market. So, the other reason that trip was a disaster was I also had another great idea. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get some Hummer limos and these Hummers are going to pick everybody up from the airport and take everybody to the hotel. And everybody is going to, they're going to pull up and people are going to look at them and be like, "Oh my God, who's that? What
Yeah.
celebrity is that? Who's getting out?" Da, 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 da. Right. So I was so excited. And I was thinking everybody was going to be excited. Now, sure enough, when the Hummers pulled up at the airport, my people were excited. They were like, "Who's getting out?" And I'm like, "Nobody's getting out. You're getting in." So they were like, "Really? This is for us?" And it was fantastic until we realized that Hummers don't have a trunk.
And they're
So,
the most uncomfortable car truck to be
so
in.
imagine my 22 people in two Hummers holding their suitcases.
Holding their suitcases. Wow. I never even noticed that. I have a friend who's in the limousine business and I never noticed that they don't have
Yeah.
trunks, but that's a requirement.
Very small trunk space.
Yeah.
So it was just not a great experience, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So next question is Adonica says she has a problem with marketing time to market while handling all of the other travel. This seems to be a pretty common struggle that people have. I don't know if she has a question or if this is a statement. Do you want to know how Tamika makes the time for marketing, or what's your question there, Adonica? And then while she
Let me
answers that, go ahead.
let me just address the first part of that the way I
Okay.
think you might be asking the question, or let me at least provide. So she's like, "How do you make the time?" Okay, so let me provide what I think is a solution that's good for everybody. And I think, oh, all-nighters, my goodness. So I think that group travel is truly the solution for now. I am biased, okay, but I think it is the solution to this problem. I truly do. So because I believe that with group travel, first of all, you can have a very successful group travel business with just a few trips a year. And it's just like I said before, when we were talking earlier, before I got in depth into the presentation, that you can actually have, like, you can put your trips on rinse and repeat. It's a one and done. Once you do the planning and you create the marketing materials and you have found the hotel and you have gotten the contract and all of that out of the way, once you have done those things, it's done. You're not researching every day for multiple people. It is done. It's just a matter of getting the information in front of the people who want it. And if you do it the correct way, you find your people first, and then you take your people where they want to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it the wrong way.
Yep.
And they plan this trip and they think, oh, if I build it, they will come. And in some cases, you might get lucky. But you will be much more successful if you work on building your audience, right? Your niche, your target market. And then you take the people where they want to go or where
Yep.
you want to take them on their group trip. And you can do this. You can do this, Portia. You can do this with a minimum number of trips a year, like a minimal number of trips a year. So in Group Travel Live, I will show you how you can do this with 4 trips a year. And you put it on rinse and repeat. Because once you've created the marketing, once you've created the flyers in Canva or the video in Canva or whatever, and we have resources for those things too. Once you have done that, you can reuse those things all over again. You can use the same suppliers, the same vendors, right? All you're doing is tweaking your pricing every year.
Yep.
And doing the same trips over and over. You give them a theme, you call them something great, and then you use Travel Pro Suite and get it out there.
And get it out there. That is that, ladies and gentlemen, is the recipe for success. Stop, and I think one of the things that with entrepreneurs, and I am significantly guilty of this, is that we want something exciting and new, and we don't want the repetition, but the money is in the repetition. The money is in the standardization of the things that do well. So the thing is find your group, find your people, like Tamika is saying, and rinse and repeat. You don't need 17 destinations. Now, when you start making $1 million and you've got more money to hire a bigger team and you want to add that kind of volume to your portfolio, you can. But like Tamika said, 4 is good. Do them well. And focus on the people and get them, like, literally. I mean, I know some advisors who focus on the group space, and what they do is they just go to Jamaica, or they just go to this, and they are contracted with that resort, and all they're doing are taking groups to that resort. And that's how you make money with the resort and build, great perks with them as well, which is what you touched on, Tamika. I'm skipping through a couple of these questions because some of them are really related to CLIA. So the next question is, one of the questions was, any advice on how to sell a trip and I assume this is a group trip that's about 7 months away. This is from Sugar. Do you have any advice for her?
For selling a trip that is about 7 months away?
Yeah. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't have enough information, I guess.
Sugar, if you want to provide some more context in your notes, then we can address it. Not having all the numbers, the first thing I'm gonna to add is, when's the final due date? Because if the final due date is if it's 7 months away, then you have a solid 7 months. But if the due date is really 5 months away, that's just shipping away. And if you don't have an audience, it just becomes much more harder to sell. So I'd like to kind of know what the numbers are saying in terms of, do you already have a market? Do you have to build one? Do you have a warm audience, kind of? Because that really would dictate kind of what I would recommend. Zandra asked, Essence Festival was horrible for me last year. I don't want to do, yeah, that's sort of me. I don't know if there's a question there as much as a statement, so I'm going to go on. How do you make she already answered that. Do you go on all, okay, so Portia asked, do you go on all of the group trips, Tamika, that you curate?
That is a good question. When I first started with groups, not the family reunions, destination weddings, things of that nature, of course.
Yeah.
Did not go on any of those. With the music festivals and sporting events and the other major events that I did, when I first started doing those, probably the first 2 or 3 years, I did go on all of those. I do think it's important because that is how you learn, you learn how things flow, right? And I think you need to know, as an entrepreneur, because this is your business, you need to know how things flow. I have seen people come through this, and try to do this in a way where, they try to put together a group trip, a magnet group trip, as we call them, but then they just send their people off. And that's not a group trip at all. That's just you putting a bunch of fits together and sending them away somewhere. So I don't think that that works. So when I say I started off going for the first few years, I did. And then I learned that there were a few people who were going on my trips like repeatedly. And so they ended up helping me out, like volunteering just on site anyway, like helping me check people, on and off buses or, just anything, right? And they were always offering their help. So I then hired them as brand ambassadors, and not for pay, for travel. So
that is, if travel feeds your soul, that's a great pay.
Yes, for travel. So
Yeah.
And in fact, we have a program called Ready to Launch, where it has like a full brand ambassador program in there with like job descriptions and things of that nature. But people are more than happy to help you out, right? And lead your group trips, especially if they've been on those trips before repeatedly. You can kind of train them up because you're there with them. And then you build that trust and you trust them to actually do those things for you that you would normally be there to do. And, and just hand the reins over to them. And they're more than happy to do it for free travel or discounted travel, that sort of thing. So
I love that idea,
yeah.
Tamika. That really is a great idea to sort of pass the reins, because depending on what your work situation is, or if you're doing this full time and just going on those same trips, having trusted ambassadors or group leaders that you trust is really critical, I think, to keep the brand intact. But the way that you're doing that is amazing. I really like the idea a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a couple of
Sundey, one quick second before we go on. I will say, with Caribbean Mastermind Retreats, the agency that I have now, and for anybody who's interested in doing like destination weddings or something like that. So with Caribbean Mastermind Retreats, I only work with business coaches and life coaches like myself. Because remember, I said, look in the mirror for your target market, right? So I'm in a bunch of circles with a bunch of business coaches, a bunch of life coaches. Every time I say I teach group travel, they're like, oh, I want to take my people somewhere. Okay. So that was like money on the table. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, bringing it full circle. Oh my gosh, what was the point I was trying to make, Sundey?
We were talking about your referral program that you have for brand ambassadors.
Yes, thank you. So on the opposite end of that, for Caribbean Mastermind Retreats and for anyone who does like destination weddings or something of that nature, if I do work with a business coach or a life coach and they just don't want to go at it alone, I will go with them. But I have a line item where I charge them for my travel and I charge them for my time.
As you should. as you should, which I'm going to piggyback on that thought and that niche in and of itself, because we both are in the business coaching space, and what business coaches don't know how to do is they don't know how to organize travel like advisors do. So there really is a great market out there, particularly post-COVID. Everybody's a coach now. Everybody's a coach, and everybody would love a signature retreat or location to teach their stuff. And so being able to, you don't even have to train them like Tamika's doing, just offer your services to them so that they can create their signature, out of town event. You would be amazed that that's a very big untapped market. A lot of coaches
I don't train them, Sundey. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't
train them? No. Caribbean Mastermind Retreats is an agency.
Oh, it's an agency. See, so the Sundey trainer is like, oh, you're training them on how to do the retreat. She's an agency. So like do it like she's doing, where you're not even doing the training. Like immediately I'm like, oh, well, you're training them. That's awesome. Because there is a lady in the space who's actually teaches like how to host a retreat. You're just providing the travel services for the retreat, which is like even better for travel advisors. Let me tell you, making money in the travel business doesn't always have to be the traditional way. And what I just want to like reiterate, the target audience in this situation is business coaches. Can you find them on the internet, on Facebook? Yes. Look in your Facebook ads, like look in your feed. Business coaches are everywhere and they all love the idea of travel. They do. Like talk to any business idea to be able to take their stuff out of town and do a mastermind live, and you're not even training them how to do that. Like Tamika, like we got to talk, because like that is a market just in and of itself. Take it from a business coach who knows that is a market. So, all right, we have a few more minutes. Tamika, are you good on time? Do you have a few more minutes?
I'm
All
good.
right. So next question is, because, I think we both are, we've got the gift of gab. So I'm a new leader for single meetup group. I would like to plan a group trip for one of our events. Any suggestions on where I should go? Group Travel Live is where you should go. That's first of all, what you should do is you should join a Group Travel Live, $1. And I believe that event's in September, right? September 9th, 10th, and 11th is what you said?
Yeah.
Yes. Cynthia, I'm not going to take your thunder, Tamika, but my first recommendation is join that. And then Tamika, what would you say in addition to that?
No, yeah, absolutely. Come to Group Travel Live, and we can start the process there. You can learn. We will go more in depth about the things that we talked about tonight, the group travel planning process, the timeline, how soon you need to start planning, because that is a question that we get a lot. So we will go into that. We actually have kind of like a worksheet that will help you to identify like when you need to start planning your group trip in order for it to be successful. So for example, with the young lady who asked about the trip that's coming up in 7 months, with the group travel planning timeline, it really helps you to determine before, let me slow down, because a lot of times we put together a trip and we pick a date, right? And then we start marketing it. Well, that doesn't work. Okay, because depending on the trip and depending on how much time you want to give people to pay, there really is a process for working backwards. And working
Absolutely.
your timeline backwards to make sure that you have enough time to not only do your stuff, because you got to design marketing materials, you got to set everything up in your software, to make sure that it flows properly again, because your business should operate the same. You should be able to collect the deposit at 3 a.m. in the same way that you collected at 3 p.m. Okay. You should not be running around guilty, running around collecting money from grocery stores, grocery store parking lot.
Grocery store meetups,
That was
Starbucks
me.
meetups for me in the
That was
past.
me. You should not be doing that. Okay. So, but yeah, there is a process to go through, to make sure that you give yourself enough time to do all of that. But yeah, let's start up, because if you're a new leader for this singles meetup group, you may be sitting on something. You may be sitting on a gold mine that you don't even realize.
Yeah. Single people love to mingle.
Yeah, there you go.
So love it. All right. So next question, I got a couple of more minutes. How do you find these experiences that people can't shop other places? Do you plug in with the locals?
That's a great question. It's really not about finding them, it's about creating them. Okay, it's about creating them. Um, and I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna pick on Jan again because I can see her and she's top of mind. But I know that, for example, we were talking about, and you guys are familiar with her because I've shared her story with you. But with regard to the theater trips and so forth, like one thing that Jan does with her trips to make them unshoppable is, she, like, I think on the last one, Jan hired a acting coach, right? And she took her people to the studio of the acting coach where they learn how to audition for a commercial. They're not finding that when they go to newyork.com to book their Broadway show.
No way. No way. Like that.
Yeah, so it's not about finding those kinds of experiences. It's about really thinking about, number one, your niche and target market, what their pain points are, what their needs are. That is the key. Figuring out what they need. What do they struggle with? right? What is it that they want? What can't they find? Like, what can't they do somewhere, with somebody else? They're not going to find that on Expedia or Travelocity or with any other agent for that matter, unless somebody else is just stealing her business ideas.
That's right, which is not likely.
Right. It's so niche, right? It's so niche. And think about this too, like just in continuing to talk about Jan, um, a lot of people think that niching down is like you're giving away business or letting business go, or I know I'm not saying that right, but like you're leaving money on the table or
Yeah.
something like that. It's the opposite, y'all. It is the opposite, right? Think about how many high school, middle school theater groups or theater schools exist. My daughter goes to a performing arts. She went to a performing arts middle school. She's now in a performing arts high school. They just did a New York trip, right? Think about how many of those schools exist. Think about how many community theaters exist. Think about how many churches have a theater group as a part of like their church ministries and things of that nature, right? And think about it, like get out of your backyard. Get out of your backyard. The internet exists for a reason. Because not only can you find people nationwide, you can find people regionally, you can find people nationwide, and depending on what you're doing, you can find people worldwide even.
That's right. That's
So
right. And so many different facets of like, we're picking on Janet because Janet gives me goosebumps. I mean, I just met her yesterday, but the whole niche idea that she has and what she's doing is just amazing. And it's also beneficial, right? So I'm sure you find it extremely rewarding as well. And so we've got about 5 minutes left. And what I want to do is I want to first thank you tremendously, Tamika, for your time coming and speaking to our community on our groups pillar. This is one of 5 pillars that I teach to throughout the year. And it is an important space because at the end of the day, I believe in that Jerry Maguire movie, Show Me the Quan, right? And the Quan is definitely in the group space and doing it well. Because I think, you shared it well, right? The first group you did, you didn't consider it to be a success. I've had many failures, but, I stuck with it. I learned from every failure that I've had, and I kept pursuing, I kept learning, and I was open to coaching and advice from those that have been in the space. And all that I want to leave you all with today is don't build it and think that they will come. Figure out who you want to build it for, and then market the hell out of it. That would be my lasting words to you all. Tamika, do you want to end with anything as we wrap up tonight?
no, I think you said it all. You wrapped up perfectly. You guys just keep going. Don't give up. Failure is a pathway to success. Trust
Absolutely.
me. Trust me. Failure is a pathway to success. Your first group trip may not meet your expectations, right? But use it as a learning opportunity. Don't give up. Keep moving because there is definitely profitability in this segment of the industry. The industry needs you. The industry needs you. People need you. Travelers need you.
I
So
love that.
just keep moving. Don't give up, you guys.
I totally love the way that you've said that is that, when I think about, and I meant to say this earlier, but you just reminded me when you were going through your presentation and in this space, right? And with all the technology and Expedia and, William Shatner's of the world, people think that they can do it themselves. But in the group space, this is probably one of the really safety spaces in terms of people that do it themselves don't want to touch. They don't want to manage the amount of communication, the complexity of handling all of the different people. And effectively, you guys know I'm a certified project manager. That's what you are. You're a certified project manager of the travel space. And people who do this well love project managers, and that's what we do. We organize, we cross the T's and dot the I's. And so this is the perfect space if you love doing this. So love it. For those that are going to join us in VIP, we will see you in 2 minutes. For those who are not, I will see you tomorrow. And tomorrow, just as a sneak peek, we are going to be going over, we're going to sort of wrap up this workshop and be going over the tools part of that. We're going to be going over, I am a geek, like I am a nerd. I don't even deny it anymore. I love technology. And we're going to be going over some cool parts of how to automate your travel business, how to automate the way that you manage your group marketing through Travel Pro Suite. I'm going to be introducing you to a couple of tools, and then I'm going to be revealing some of the end of workshop bonuses that we have and give you access to the amazing offer that Tamika has provided to you all tonight. So join us tomorrow, same time, same bat channel, 6 p.m. Eastern. We will be here wrapping up our 3-day workshop. Tamika, thank you so much again for pouring into our group. We had a great turnout. And let me just see if there's any last minute questions. And those, if you may have missed it, the replay will be coming out to you guys tonight. Thank you for your time, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.